My name is Noah. For 7 years, I was married to a woman named Clara. We first met at a bustling networking conference in Seattle, a place charged with ambition and noise. I wasn't expecting anything more than polite conversation and professional handshakes, but then I saw her. Clara stood out, not because she was the loudest or the flashiest, but because she moved through the crowd with a kind of quiet command. Her wit was sharp, her confidence effortless, and when we finally spoke, it felt less like small talk and more like striking a match. There was heat, light, and the beginning of something neither of us could have predicted. To everyone around us, we became that couple, the one people whispered about at parties with admiration and just a little envy. The picture-perfect marriage. Successful careers, a stylish home, inside jokes, a shared rhythm. But people don't see the fine cracks in a polished surface until it starts to break. And ours for a long time looked flawless. The early years of our marriage were beautiful. Effortless laughter, late-night dreams shared under blankets, spontaneous road trips, and quiet moments that made the world feel still. We built something together that felt unshakable, like a future we could count on. Looking back, those were some of the happiest days of my life. But happiness, I've learned, is often temporary if it's not nurtured. And over time things shifted. By the 6th year of our marriage, Clara had reconnected with an old friend, Lena. Lena was everything Clara once found amusing but incompatible. Unpredictable, wild, allergic to commitment. She wore her recklessness like a badge of honor, chasing chaos and mocking structure. To her, marriage was a trap, something to escape from, not treasure. At first, I told myself it was harmless. Everyone needs friends who see the world differently, right? But then came the overnight stays. Clara would spend weeknights at Lena's apartment, claiming they lost track of time, talking, laughing like old times. I believed her. Or rather, I wanted to believe her. So I let it go. But the signs became harder to ignore. New clothes I'd never seen before. Whispered phone calls in rooms she never used to hide in. A shift in her energy. Once open and affectionate, now guarded, distant. There were no fights, no screaming matches. Just a growing emptiness where intimacy used to be. One night, while Clara was in the bath, I picked up her phone to check the time. It was locked, passcode protected. That one small detail hit me like a punch to the chest. We never hid things from each other. And suddenly there it was, a wall between us. I didn't accuse her. I didn't yell. I just watched. But suspicion is a quiet poison. It eats at you from the inside. So, with a heart full of dread and shame, I crossed a line I never thought I would. I installed tracking software on her phone. I hated myself for doing it. But I needed clarity. I needed to know if I was crazy or if the foundation of my marriage was rotting beneath my feet. What I found destroyed me. Clara wasn't just reconnecting with Lena. They were part of a group chat. 4 women, including Lena, planning what they shamelessly called escape nights. These weren't innocent evenings out. These were planned acts of betrayal. Outings to clubs under false names. Meetings with strangers arranged online. It wasn't a moment of weakness. It was methodical, intentional. One message from Clara hit harder than anything else. Asterisk, I don't want to hurt Noah, but fidelity feels like a cage. Asterisk. Lena, of course, fueled the fire, always encouraging, always pushing. It was a game to them. A rebellion against the lives they had chosen. The woman who once held my hand and spoke about growing old together had become someone I no longer recognized. Still, I didn't lash out. I didn't beg for her love or demand explanations. I kissed her goodnight like always. I touched her hair gently. But behind that calm exterior, I was falling apart. In secret, I hired a private investigator. Within days, I had everything. Photos, receipts, call logs. Cold, undeniable truth. And yet, I didn't file for divorce. Not yet. What I wanted more than anything was for her to understand. To feel the weight of betrayal. To sit in the discomfort of uncertainty the way I had. So I changed. Subtly, deliberately. I started coming home later. I grew distant, vague, cold. I stopped initiating conversations. She noticed. She started asking questions. One night I looked her in the eyes and said, asterisk, I won't be home tonight. I need some space. Asterisk. I watched the flicker of confusion, of fear, cross her face. It was the first genuine emotion I'd seen from her in months. A week later, I left a dating profile open on my phone. Just long enough for her to find it. It wasn't real, but it was convincing. The next morning, she sat in silence at the table, holding my phone. Asterisk. Is this what you meant by space? Asterisk, she asked quietly. I met her gaze. You changed the rules, I said. Asterisk, I'm just playing by them. Asterisk. That was the moment the illusion shattered. A few nights later, I invited both Clara and Lena over for dinner. Poured wine. Smiled. I pretended just for a little while longer. Then I dimmed the lights and turned on the projector. Message after message. Photo after photo. Timestamps. Locations. Proof. The room went cold. Clara turned pale. Lena tried to make a joke to downplay it, but I cut her off. Asterisk. You convinced my wife that betrayal was freedom. That loyalty was weakness. Well, now you both know what it feels like to lose something real. Asterisk. I slid the divorce papers across the table. Clara cried. She begged. She swore it was just a phase, that she still loved me, that she didn't know why she did it. But some truths, once revealed, can't be buried again. And some wounds don't heal just because someone says they're sorry. As I left that night, I told her, asterisk, you chose freedom. Now I choose mine. Asterisk. I moved into a modest apartment downtown. It was quiet, but not lonely. The silence there didn't echo with lies. It gave me room to breathe. And slowly I began to rebuild. Not the life I once had, but something new. Something honest. Something mine.